Hi, and welcome to this screencast here. This is going to be the first part of your blended Tuesday. So as with all screencasts, follow along, take good notes, and make sure that you pay good attention to what we're going over. And if you have any questions, just write down those questions, and I'll answer those questions during the block day. This screencast will deal with basically two different things. It's going to deal with the end of section 3 in chapter 5 and also the beginning of section 4. And the end of section 3 deals with something called the Peloponnesian War. So the Peloponnesian War, again, is in chapter 5, section 3, and this is going to be the first little topic here in our screencast. As we talked about a week ago, as Athens and the rest of the Greek states came out of the war against Persia, they formed the Delian League. So we knew that the Delian League, which was this defensive alliance between Athens, Sparta, all the other city-states, all the other poli in Greece, and it was led by Athens. And as we know, Pericles was one of the main politicians in Athens, the most important one, and he led the Delian League. And as you might remember, we talked about this in class last week, he used some of the money that was in the Delian League for the reconstruction of Athens. So he used Delian League money to rebuild Athens, and that made a lot of people really upset. We talked about this in class last week. The state that was most upset here was Sparta. They were very mad at Pericles, and they accused him of stealing money from them, and the relationship between Athens and Sparta really deteriorated and became really infected, and it became a really bad relationship. This got so bad that during the 440s BCE, we had some minor battles. So we had some minor battles between the two states. This was not really a war, but it was just small little incidents where a part of the Spartan army would fight with a part of the Athenian army. There were no major battles, but it was just a build-up of more and more irritation between the two sides, and it was clear that sooner or later this is going to turn into a full-blown war at some point. And that happens in 432. In 432 BCE, we have the outbreak of war between Athens and Sparta. And it was basically Pericles that got this war underway. He thought that we need to deal with these people from Sparta once and for all. We just need to settle our differences. And all the other poli in Greece, all the other city-states now picked a side. So they would either join the Athenian side or they would join the Spartan side. So I have this map here that we'll take a look at. And all the kind of red, pinkish areas here are states that are allied with Sparta. So all these states here are allied with Sparta, and all the yellow ones are allied with Athens. And as you can see, Athens have a lot of allies over here, close to the Persian Empire, and over here in the northern part. But they don't have a whole lot of allies around the area of Peloponnesus, which is this island right here. So the Athenians really struggled to fight the Spartans because most of the fighting took place here. And although these allies over here sent troops to Athens, the Spartans still had the upper hand. And as we know, the Spartans are also very good fighters. So Sparta had the upper hand for most of the war. It didn't help that Pericles died in 429, just a couple of years after the war started, and the Athenians kind of lacked a good leader. So for most of the war, Athens basically hid. They would not engage with the Spartans in an all-out battle because they knew that if they did that, they would basically have gotten smashed to pieces, and the Spartans would have defeated them. So the Athenians hid inside their own city walls. They fought kind of in the style of guerrilla warfare, where they would kind of try to ambush the Spartans and just try to do as well as they can because they knew that they were kind of in a bad position here. So this war goes on all the way until 405 BCE. And in 405 BCE, we have this really famous battle. The Battle of Aegospotami. It's a little bit difficult to say, but the Battle of Aegospotami. When the Spartans finally were able to get the Athenians out of their city, and they met on the seas, and it was part of a naval battle. There was also a battle on land. This was a big battle, and the Spartans win. So Sparta wins the war. So Sparta wins the war. But now the problem here is that they've been fighting for roughly 27 years, all these Greek states. So all of the Greek states, the Athenians, the Spartans, the Corinthians, the Thebes, all of these states were completely worn out. So although Sparta won the war, they could not take control over all the other Greek states. So in a sense, this whole war was just a waste of time because it just made all the Greek states weaker, and it killed millions of men, and it just wasted a lot of resources. And at the end of this, even for the ones that won the war, even for the Spartans, they never really got anything out of it. Everybody just kind of went back to their own city-states after this war, and just kind of went about living their lives as best as they could in a very difficult situation where a lot of people were starving. There was no good political leaders. So again, the Greeks here kind of shot themselves in the foot. They went from having a really good situation where things were going really well, they had defeated the Persians, and then they start fighting amongst themselves, and they basically ruin their own prosperity. So that's the end of section 3 here, and now we will start the beginning of section 4. So I'll put that on the board here. It's the beginning of section 4. And as all of this was happening in Greece, so the war is over, and all the city-states have gone back to kind of doing their own thing. There's this one kingdom to the north of Greece. This is Macedonia up here, this area right here. And the Macedonians had paid good attention to what was going on in Greece, and they wanted to expand their territory as well, the Macedonians. So if you go back to the board here, so Macedonians wanted to expand. And the problem was that in the past, they had been very unorganized. Very unorganized. They were not unified. They had no good political leaders. But this will change. This will change. Because in 359 BCE, the King Philip II takes control. And he was a very, very good king. So King Philip II takes control of Macedonia, this area right here, and he was very, very good. So he was a very good king. So he organized the Macedonian army, and they started to conquer. They started to conquer states. So going back to the map here, Macedonia started to conquer these areas right here. They started with this area called Thessaly right here, and then they basically just worked their way down towards Athens and towards Sparta. And the Greek states, as we said in section 3, were basically so worn out after the Peloponnesian War that nobody could really put up any defense against King Philip II. So in 338 BCE, Philip II wins a big battle at a place called Charoneia. And Charoneia is in this area right here, very close to Athens, right here. So he won the Battle of Charoneia, and after this he basically controlled all of Greece. So he controlled all of Greece. That was after that. So now the Macedonians have taken over the Greeks. The problem for Philip II was that he was very arrogant. He was very boastful. He liked to tell people how good he was and how worthless everybody else was. And as a result, he had made a lot of enemies. Not just amongst his own people, but also among the Greeks. So nobody really liked him. I have a picture here of a statue of Philip II. This is Philip II of Macedonia. And again, he was very, very arrogant. To make things worse for Philip, he was a very famous womanizer. So he was married, but had numbers and numbers, or great numbers of affairs with all kinds of women. And this is eventually going to lead to his downfall here, because in 336 BCE, he's assassinated. He's assassinated. We don't really know who has assassinated him. There are two different theories that historians believe could be true. It was either a jealous mistress that he had taken up with some other mistress, and she got mad and assassinated him, or there's also some evidence that indicate that a husband of a woman that he was having an affair with got so mad that Philip was having an affair with this man's wife, so that he went ahead and killed Philip. At any rate, in 336 BCE, Philip is assassinated, and that opens up the door for his son. Alexander takes power. So Alexander the First, who is the son of Philip II, takes power in 336 BCE, and he is going to turn into Alexander the Great. So we'll spend a lot more time during the block day talking about Alexander the Great and kind of taking a look at his career. So that is this screencast. You will have a little kind of a quiz that really won't count for anything, but make sure that you do take the quiz to check that you understood this screencast properly. If you have any questions, do let me know, and good luck with the rest of your blended day.